welcome to this slightly different episode of the Keto Vegan podcast. I'm Rach, I am your host. In this episode, you can see it's about to be Christmas. My tree is sparkling in the background, that's if you're watching it. And what I'm going to talk about today is how to survive this season when you might have loads of guests, you might be doing lots of entertaining. If you're doing entertaining though, it's probably going to be easier for you to stay in control rather than if you are being entertained. So I'm going to give you some tips, some strategies, mindfulness ideas, how to resist maybe judgment from others, and how so very important it is to have a plan. This is why this episode is called Thriving Through Tinsels and Temptations, a Keto Vegan's Guide to Conquering Christmas. So get comfortable, settle in, and hopefully you're going to really enjoy this and find it very useful. There are so many health benefits to being keto and being vegan. So some of the information I'm going to give you in a second are from studies. I'm not going to keep saying this study says, that study says. So I'm going to just say some facts, and you'll have to believe me that I say I've got it from research and some studies that have been done. There's also a link underneath, which is where I found this information from too. So have a look at that. There's lots more information in that link. So first, one of the health advantages as a vegan is vegans have a 75% lower risk of developing high blood pressure and up to a 78% risk reduction of type 2 diabetes. Second benefit, vegans tend to weigh less than non-vegans. I like that. And it's not because we're so skinny and malnourished. We are healthy, thriving human beings. Number 3, it also says that vegans are more successful in losing weight than people that eat animal products, that eat meat. Number 4, so the keto diet is really good for blood sugar control, for weight loss. As we know, if you're on a keto diet, you're bound to have lost weight. I know I certainly did. I dropped a number of stones when I started. And reduced heart risk factors too. I think there's a 5th health benefit. There's quite a lot of health benefits in a previous podcast. I think it was 1 or 2 that I did. So do have a look at that if you want more detail. And 5th, there's more research on a study with 58 obese children. Those that were on the keto diet lost more weight than those that were on a calorie controlled diet. That's excellent, isn't it? I think we're on 6th now. Are we on 6th? 6th maybe? I don't know. Ketogenic diets have also been shown to reduce heart disease factors, including high, now let me just check this out, what is this? Triglycerides, blood pressure, and bad LDL cholesterol too. Okay, so those are the health benefits. What about some tips to survive the season? I'm going to say one of the most important things is planning ahead is vital. When you wake up in the morning, I want the first thing that you do is to lie in bed as you're just calming into consciousness, to visualize yourself being in absolute control for the whole day, especially if it's a day when you're being entertained, you're going out, where there will be foods there that are carbs that you might want to pick at, like crisps, dips, those kinds of things. Roast potatoes, how do you resist those? So plan your day, visualize a successful, powerful, in control you, and visualize yourself at the end of the day feeling so proud of how you survived everything today and stuck to your keto diet. Another thing to survive this diet and about planning ahead is also in the morning, use affirmations. I'm not talking about affirmations, I am statements. I'm talking about affirmations. I'm going to give you more information on that when we get to the mindfulness part of this podcast. What I'm doing for Christmas this year is quite a relaxed vibe. I've got various people coming, family coming, my ex-in-laws, my ex-husband, his girlfriend, maybe his friend too, my own children, my eldest with her baby girl, my first granddaughter. And what we've done, because we wanted a really relaxed vibe and it to be very easy, so I opened up the food list and I've created this Google sheet where people can put what they want to bring for the day on it. Now we are going to have a sit-down hot dinner, but there's going to be loads and loads of picky bits. So what I'm going to do to give myself a fighting chance of not eating those crackers and cheese, I've bought lots of vegan cheese as well so people can help themselves to that. And I have actually got a few things that I know that I can go to save me from binging, from carb loading and things like that, to keep me on track, because I know I will feel so much better if I don't eat carbs. Carbs really bloat me out. What do they do to you? They make me put on weight and they bloat me out. So what I am going to be making, and a few podcasts on these as well, I'm going to be making some seed crackers. I think my last podcast was a few podcasts ago was seed crackers, and Philadelphia vegan cream cheese, or the, what's that one called? The Violife cream cheese. They are really, really, really low carbs and they taste really good. So I will be snacking, if I need a snack, which I probably won't, but that will be my go-to, my seedy crackers and some Violife. And I might put some jalapenos on, or some olives as well. Olives are great, aren't they? Or even some sun-dried tomatoes. You can get sun-dried tomatoes that are really good fibre, got a bit carbs, but because the fibre and the net content of carbs is pretty low as well. So those might be my snacks that I go to. The desserts are also going to be a temptation. Not that I've actually got a sweet tooth anymore, but what I am going to do is do the raspberry cream pie. I showed you that a couple of podcasts ago as well. And I'm going to make some really rich, indulgent chocolate fudge. That's going to be based out of coconut cream, lots of dark chocolate, no added sugar chocolate, or sugar-free chocolate that I can get from Sainsbury's, which is really good sugars in that per 100 grams, as in really low. And I'm going to chuck some booze in there. I'm going to make sure that the alcohol that I put in will be really low carb too. Mainly, probably white rum. Don't like vodka in food. And maybe a bit of a chocolate liqueur. Now the chocolate liqueur, the peanut butter whiskey, yeah, I might do peanut butter whiskey. That sounds pretty good. Will heighten the carbs, but because the fudge pieces are so tiny, because it's so rich, you need to keep it in the freezer as well. I am going to be doing an episode on that very soon, so do have a look at that. So those are going to be my sweet things, my keto raspberry cream pie and the chocolate fudge. I could make some other things like a really rich, indulgent chocolate mousse, but there's lots of other desserts that are happening as well, and it would just be wasted. Now, what about roast potatoes and roast parsnips? I love my roast potatoes. They get so fluffy on the inside, so crunchy on the outside, and they taste so good. But I'm not going to eat those. I'm going to be cooking those for everybody else. But what I am going to do is roasted Jerusalem artichokes. They are a bit high in carbs, but they've got so much good nutrition. They've got a lot of fibre in as well. And they're pretty small, so that carb count is going to be pretty minimal. But also roasted celeriac. Is that how you pronounce it? I hope so. That carb count is almost nothing. And be roasting it in a lot of fat with some salt as well. Pre-boil and then roast for about 30 minutes. Now, if I was bothered about having stuffing, which I'm not really, I found a recipe online, the link is below, for a sausage meat stuffing. But what I suggest you do if you're in the UK and you can't get vegan sausage meat, use some Beyond burgers and break those up, or just some good vegan redefined mince or Beyond mince. Use that, or even the supermarket's own vegan mince, but do just check the carb count and then follow the recipe that's below. Let me know how that goes, because I'm not going to be making that. And of course, let's not forget drinks. Make sure that you are careful with the wines that you drink and any cocktails that you're drinking. Sticking with the white spirits is the safest bet. I actually love a dark and stormy, which is not a white spirit, it's a spiced rum. Check your spiced rum that you're drinking. Some of them are, the sweeter they are, they have got sugar in. But some spiced rums are pretty good and low carbs. Vodka's always a low carb. chuck some cream in there, chuck some chocolate in there, give it a good old shake, bit of white rum, that would taste lovely, and maybe some creme de menthe or some sugar-free mint syrup or sugar-free coffee syrup or something like that. Obviously, an espresso martini will work perfectly. I will have to have a decaf one and a sugar-free syrup in there. So that all works really, really well. So do that. Enjoy your Christmas. Bubbly is pretty low carbs as well. Check the bubbly for whether it's vegan or not. I find that most carvers, in fact, I haven't found a carver yet that isn't vegan. So my go-to is a carver. It's drier than Prosecco. I don't really like Prosecco. But obviously, I'm never going to say goodbye. Say no to champagne as long as it's a vegan champagne. Call me a snob. Actually, I drink carver at £6 a bottle. That is not being a snob, is it? Okay, so the next thing, how do you cope with the social pressure and the temptations when temptation's going to be all around you? Don't make any food decisions when you've had too many drinks. It can be disastrous. So this is why being mindful right in the morning, even if you're going to be drinking during the day or in the evening, visualize you drinking but still being in control of your eating. Okay, this is not a time to be serious and boring. This is a family time, isn't it? It's time for celebration. So how do we cope with that social pressure and that temptation? Now, this can be perhaps the most hard and challenging part of this season. You may well feel judged by people that don't understand the choices that you've made and where you've come from and why you've made those choices. Do you know what? That doesn't matter. They are who they are. You are who you are. You know your journey. You don't know their journey. You don't know why they are being judgmental. But what I strongly advise that you do is don't get into an argument. Don't get into a discussion about it. Be light-hearted about it, and certainly don't go down the vegan argument route. Be kind, be loving, and don't judge them for where they're at. Don't forget, it's highly likely that at one point in your life you ate meat too, and as you've been brought up vegan, a few people have. But I know my journey. I put my head in the sand, in the proverbial sand, for a very, very long time, until that time that I watched that documentary, Unity, and it changed my life overnight. But before that time, leading up to that time, I'd been teaching students about animal rights. I'd been trying to avoid the issue that I was becoming more and more aware that these animals have feelings and feel fear and want to live as much as I do. But because I was a keto diet, I was still eating lots of meat, lots of dairy, until that moment that my life changed. So who am I to judge somebody else? I can't. The right time hasn't happened for them yet. I say yet. It happened for me. I never thought it would. It happened for you. Maybe you never thought it would either. So be patient, be kind, be loving towards the people that just don't get it. I've had so many comments from people in the older generation. You know, when I come to your house, you make me eat your food. Why won't you eat my food, meat, when you come to my house? And I think, oh my God, you just don't get it. You don't get, oh, anyway, I'm not gonna, I find that quite frustrating. Obviously, I don't say that to them, but I laugh and I say, I'm doing it for the animals. I'm doing it for the animals, not for my health. I mean, it is healthy, which is great, isn't it? Okay, so social pressure. Don't judge them for judging you. They're coming from their place. Be in your place. Be present with your decisions. There's no need to be unkind or militant with your veganism. I think love is the way forward. Kindness and love and empathy. We were there once too. And whilst I'm talking about judging, don't judge yourself. If you mess up, you mess up. And that's okay. We're not perfect. Set yourself realistic goals. These tips and these strategies that I'm giving you now, try some of them. If they don't work, they don't work. And just try. That's all that we can do, isn't it? Sometimes we're successful, sometimes we fail. And that is okay. And it's certainly no reason to judge yourself. Be kind to yourself. So one way that you can be kind to yourself is by tracking your progress sort of through the day. I use the urinalysis strips that tell me, they go darker when you be on them in the morning to tell you how much ketones you're burning up. So I find those really motivating. So perhaps use those as well to keep you motivated. Or you might be doing the blood thing as well, that you take a bit of blood from your fingertip and then measure that. I don't know how those work, but I do know that some people use them and find them really accurate too. And so a really good guide. And when you are being successful with all this effort you're putting in, give yourself a reward, not food. So the last area that I want to talk about is mindfulness. How do we survive this season? I think mindfulness is going to be key to helping as well. Work out what your triggers are and have something in place ready for when it happens. And the first thing I'm going to say is breathe. 3 deep, slow breaths right down into your belly, so that when you breathe, you're breathing into the bottom of your lungs and your stomach is going out. I know we like to keep slim, we like to keep it all tucked in, but breathing deeply means that your stomach's going to be going out. You're going to be going right down to the bottom of your lungs. 3 slow breaths, feeling your body get out of your head and into your body. Your thoughts aren't telling you the truth. Your body instinctually knows much better. What I also do, I set a random alarm. It's on this app that I found through the Play Store, Google Play Store, and it's called Remind Me. Very good, isn't it? And what it's got, the icon on it is a picture of an alarm clock that's blue, and in front of the alarm clock is a red dice. So it's a random, and it will just, you can set many different alarms random, and the hours between, so from 8 o'clock till 6 p.m. or something, it's up to you, but I find that really helpful. And what I've set mine to do is, and it just says breathe, and so that comes along 5 times, 6 times a day, a little beep, and I then go into my body, I breathe, I check in with myself where I'm at, and I find that's really helpful too. Another thing you can use is affirmations. Not affirmations, not I am powerful, I am thin, but they are more around questions. This guy called Noah St. John has written a book around affirmations. I'd certainly recommend looking at that and reading it. There's a guidebook as well about how to do it, and it's a really straightforward process. And it's a pretty quick read as well. I've used affirmations with my clients, my therapy clients, and students at school, and they find it so helpful. So what an affirmation is a why question. Why am I losing weight so effectively? Why am I in control over food? Why am I so successful at being mindful around food? Those kind of questions. So the idea is that you set yourself a question, think about what you want to have happen as if it is happening already. So you ask that question, you let that rest in your brain. Don't look for the answer and don't answer it. Let your brain do the searching, a bit like Google. And then really importantly, you take on new actions as if you are already being that why am I so mindful when it comes around food. And action, I think the universe is trying to tell me at the moment that actions are so important. Sitting, meditating, visualizing is really good. But we have to take actions. It's not going to just jump into our laps. If we want something to happen, we also have to act and do and be. So do some actions and set yourself these affirmations and write them down. Why am I so flippin' amazing at doing this diet and keeping clear at Christmas. Don't make them that complicated. Keep them really simple. Another thing that we can do with mindfulness is guided meditations. There are lots of apps out there that are free to use as well as paid. I've got some 4 meditations at the moment on Insight Timer. That's an app. Some of the teachers do charge for their meditations. I've just got 4 on there at the moment under Rachel Ginn. Yeah, Rachel Ginn, G-H-I-N-N. And I've also got a YouTube channel that I use for my therapeutic hypnotherapy side of my life. And the YouTube channel is a link below, but it's at Rachel Ginn. So Rachel is R-A-C-H-E-L, Ginn, G-H-I-N-N. And there's quite a lot of visualizations on there. I sort of think about my students at school, secondary students at school, when I'm putting some of them together. And if you want me to create a visualization stroke meditation for a specific thing, again, contact me. My details are below. Ask me to create one and I will do that and put that on. People tell me that my voice when I'm doing these things is like velvet. So certainly, if nothing else, I might just send you to sleep. And finally, before I finish this podcast, I am going to go with what I picked up from, oh, flipping hell, what's his name? Oh, McKenna, Paul McKenna. Okay, and his meditation or his hypnotherapy around what you do when you're eating. So, it's very simple, 4 steps. I hope I can remember them. When you're hungry, eat. Keto vegan, eat. But when you're hungry, eat. Eat consciously, every mouthful. Give thanks for it. Give thanks to the people that have brought it to your table. Give thanks for preparing it. Be thanks that you're such an amazing cook. So, step 1 again. When you're hungry, what you're going to do, you're going to eat. But don't stuff your face. Step 2, eat consciously. Step 3, what is step 3? When you think you're full, stop. No, that's only 3 steps. What's the next step? Okay, when you're hungry, eat what you keto vegan want. Oh yeah, I think I added that. Okay, let's start again. When you're hungry, eat. Number 2, eat what you keto vegan want. 3, eat consciously. And 4, when you think you're full, stop. And because you're eating consciously, you're being aware of it all going down into your stomach, and you will stop eating before you finish the food on your plate, hopefully. And then, because you haven't overeaten, you're going to be hungry again, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours later. That means you can eat again. Isn't that amazing? I love eating and I love food. So that actually really works as well, just being mindful and being aware of that ego voice, that critic. Okay, so hopefully you found that really helpful. If you follow my podcast or subscribe to my YouTube channel, send me a screenshot that you've done that and I'll give you access to a whole long list of of foods, and it tells you on that list the carb counts, the fat counts, protein counts, and if it's listed the fibre counts, and if it's listed the vitamins and Bs and stuff like that on it as well. And you're able to edit it to see what's the highest carbs, highest fats, highest proteins, etc., etc. And I'll give you access to that. So whenever I think about a new food, so for example today, celeriac, however you pronounce it, also went onto that list because I hadn't put it on there before because I'd never really thought about it. So do follow. I'd love it if you followed me or subscribed to my channel. Do share the word. There's not a whole load of us, and so it'd be great to connect with those of us that are out there. Enjoy your Christmas. You might be listening to this way after Christmas, but just pretend it's like got the vibe. You've got the twinkling tree behind me. So do enjoy your Christmas. Be kind to yourself. Don't judge yourself. The less you judge yourself, the less you're going to judge others as well. Loads of love to you.